am here today to do exercise 17 in the TABE Tutor Practice Math Workbook. This is still Workbook 1. And let's look for Practice 17. It's going to be on page 36. My pages are just a little different, so here is the exercise that we are looking at today. And this time we are dividing whole numbers by fractions. And as an example, let's take a look at number 1 here. 6 over 1 divided by 1 over 4. You know the process if you watched the last video. We make this a times sign and we use the reciprocal here. So 4 over 1 becomes the reciprocal that we need. Be careful there, especially if you just watched the last video, because that process is still in your head. This one's a little different. The steps are the same, but the numbers look a little different. So 6 times 4 is 24 over 1 is going to equal 24. So I would go with option D on this one. Answer to number 1 is D. Number 2. For each bouquet that Fran makes, she includes 1/6 dozen roses. How many bouquets can Fran make with 9 dozen roses? Now be careful here. You have to really think this through. Ask yourself in your own words what's happening in this story. So Fran has some roses, and she's going to divide those up into bouquets. And I didn't spell that right. B-O-U. Sorry guys. It's early in the morning and I can tell it. B-O-U-Q-U-E-T-S. Bouquets. So this is the bare bones of what's happening here. She has some roses. She divides them up into bouquets. So ask yourself, how many roses does she have? Well, she has 9 dozen. And each bouquet is going to have 1/6 of a dozen. And there's your division problem. Now I know at the top of this page it tells me to divide a whole number by a fraction, and that's great. That's a help. But on a test, you cannot rely on that. You're going to have to figure out how to set this up yourself. You always want the total, and let me pull this down just a hair and I'll write this in there. With the division problem, you always want your total to come first. So the total is what she has. And then the second one will be the condition or the scenario for one given thing. So you're breaking down a total into, in this case, different bouquets. So here we go. We're going to say 9 over 1 divided by 1/6. 9 over 1 times, flip this one. You never bother the leader. The leader never changes. You flip the fraction that follows. So 54 over 1 is 54. So with those 9 dozen roses, she can make 54 bouquets. The answer to number 2 is C. Number 3. While training for a marathon, Randy stops to do 20 push-ups every time he runs a third of a mile. How many times does Randy stop to do push-ups in a 4-mile run? Be careful with this one. Let me show you why. I have 20, 1/3, and 4. We have too many numbers in this problem. We either have a multi-step problem or we have some what I call junk, some distractors, a distractor that is irrelevant to this problem. And that is actually what's happening here. There is a distractor that we don't need to use. It's either the 20, the 1/3, or the 4. And we have to figure out which one of those is the junk. Which one of those am I going to throw out? So let's look at a picture of what's happening. Here is Randy is doing this run that is 4 miles long. Okay. Every third of a mile, so every time he reaches a third of a mile, he stops. And he drops to the ground and he does 20 push-ups. He runs another third of a mile, he stops, and he does 20 push-ups. So you see the picture and how the numbers work together. The question is not how many push-ups does Randy do. Here's the question. How many times does Randy stop? So we're looking for how many of these dots would be along that whole line. We're looking for the dots. And what goes with the dots? It's the 1/3. I'm not interested in how many push-ups he's able to do. I'm interested in how many dots are along the line. So the 20 is the distractor. We don't need the 20 to solve this problem. But sometimes those distractors can be really, really hard to deal with. I know that's not easy to see. We're going to take the 4 miles, the total, and divide that into 1/3 mile stops. So 4/1 times 3/1 is 12/1, and that equals 12. So there would be 12 of those dots along the way. The answer to number 3 is B. Number 4. Susan paints one decorative sign with 1/6 of a gallon of paint. How many signs can Susan paint with 3 gallons? So I'm taking her total gallons and I'm dividing that up into signs. So she has 3 gallons of paint, and each sign takes 1/6 of a gallon. So we're going to say 3/1. Liter never changes. You flip the fraction that follows. And this will be 18/1 or 18. So the answer to this one is D. This is number 4. The answer is D. Number 5. Emmy feeds her fish 1/9 of a tablespoon of flakes each day from a box that contains 6 tablespoons of flakes. How many days will the fish food last? So we're taking the total and we're dividing that up into each day. So the total is 6 tablespoons. Each day she uses 1/9 of a tablespoon. You see how those units match? That's a very good thing. That tells me that I'm on the right track here. So we're dividing those two fractions. 6/1 times 9/1 is 54/1, or 54. The answer to number 5 is B, 54 days. Number 6. Greg makes a bracelet every 1/4 of an hour. How many bracelets can Greg make in 5 hours? So we take the total hours, that should come first, divided by the hours for each bracelet to get our answer. Total hours are 5. Each bracelet is 1/4 of an hour, and we need to divide those. So 5/1 times 4/1 is 20/1, or 20 bracelets. The answer to number 6 is C. Number 7. 1 serving of fruit cocktail amounts to 1/3 of a cup. How many servings are in a 13-cup container? So you take the total number of cups that you have. We're dividing that into 1 serving, or individual servings. So we have 13 cups. We're dividing those into servings of 1/3. So 13/1 times 3/1. 13 times 3 is 39, and 1 times 1 is 1. So this comes out to be 39 servings. The answer to number 7 is A, 39 servings. Number 8. Sean uses 1/8 of a cup of soy sauce to make 1 pound of jerky. How many pounds of jerky can Sean make with 12 cups of soy sauce? So again, I take the total cups, divide that down into 1 serving, so we have 12 cups broken down into 1/8 cup servings. So 12 over 1 times 8 over 1. And if you need to pause the video and work out that multiplication, that's fine. It's going to be 96 over 1, or 96 pounds. That's a lot of beef jerky. 96 pounds of beef jerky with 12 cups of soy sauce. So he's mass producing this stuff. Answer to number 8 is D. Chuck makes steak seasoning to sell. He adds 1/7 of a cup of ground pepper to each quart of seasoning. How many quarts can Chuck make with 26 cups of ground pepper? So the total cups of pepper that he has is 26. He is breaking that down into quarts, or let's just call it each serving. If you start using all these different units, it gets a little bit confusing. So he's breaking that down into 1/7. This is cups and cups. That's a good sign when those match. Actually, that one is not yet a full cup, so we would just use the singular. So 26 over 1 times 7 over 1. And I don't know my times tables up to 26, so let's do the figuring over here. 26 times 7, carry 4. 14 plus 4 is 1/8. So 182 is that numerator. Divide that by 1. 182 quarts can be made with that amount of pepper. So the answer to number 9 is B. If you are using a calculator on these, if you're studying for HiSET, use the calculator by all means to do all of that figuring. Use the calculator to do the fractions. You need to talk to your teacher about whether or not you should be using a calculator. Okay, number 10. Benita drinks a veggie smoothie every morning. She uses 1/3 cup of tomato juice as a base liquid. How many smoothies can Benita make with 8 cups of tomato juice? So we want to look at the total amount of tomato juice that she has. And those are measured in cups. So she has 8 cups total. And we're going to divide that into each smoothie. And each smoothie has 1/3 of a cup. So 8 divided by 1/3, have 8 over 1 times 3 over 1 is 24 over 1. So she can make 24 smoothies with 8 cups of tomato juice. The answer to number 10 is B. Number 11. Ansley puts 1/3 of a granola bar in her protein snack mix each day. How many days will 4 granola bars last? So we want to know how many total bars she has. And we're dividing that up into each day. So she has 4 bars, and each day she uses a third of a bar. So 4 over 1 times 3 over 1 is 12 over 1, or 12. Number 12. Al sells watermelons by the slice. Each slice is 1/8 of a watermelon. Al has 18 watermelons. How many slices of watermelon does Al sell? So you take the total divided by the slices. He has 18, and each slice is 1/8. So we have 18 over 1. Use the reciprocal out here. And again, I don't know my times tables that high, so if you can do it in your head, that's fine. But let me show you how to do it if you have trouble with that. 8 eighths are 64. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6, that's your add-on, is 14. So he can get 144 slices out of those watermelons. The answer to number 12 is A. Number 13. Christina mixes 1/5 of a cup of lemon oil into each bottle of homemade cleaner. She uses 7 cups of lemon oil. How many bottles of cleaner does Christina make? Well, we want to know the total cups of lemon oil, and then the amount of lemon oil in each bottle. So we have 7 cups of the oil, and each bottle only needs 1/5 of a cup. So 7 over 1 times 5 over 1 is 35 over 1, or 35. The answer to number 13 is D. 35 bottles. Number 14. Ed cooks 1 package of chicken quarters with 1/4 of a bag of charcoal. How many packages of chicken quarters can Ed cook with 2 bags of charcoal? So we want to know the total number of bags of charcoal divided by how much charcoal is needed for each package of chicken quarters. So he has 2 bags of charcoal. Each package of chicken quarters requires 1/4 of a bag. So 2 over 1 times 4 over 1 is 8 over 1, or 8. So the answer to number 14 is C, 8 packages. Number 15. How many 1/12 quart servings of hamster food are in a 6-quart bag? So we're taking the total bag and we're dividing that up into servings. So you have a total bag that is 6 quarts. Each serving is a 1/12 of a quart. You see how those units match. That's a very good thing. If those units don't match, you need to be very, very careful. So 6/1 times 12/1 is 72/1, or 72 servings. Answer to number 15 is B, 72 servings. Number 16. A candle burns 1/4 inch per hour. How many hours does a 4-inch candle burn? So I take the total number of inches, divide that into how much I lose in 1 hour. I divide that by how much I lose in 1 hour. So total is 4. You have 4-inch candle, and 1/4 of that inch goes every hour. So there is our division problem. 4/1 times 4/1 is 16/1, or 16 hours. Answer to number 16 is A. Number 17 tells me exactly what I need to do. I need to divide this problem. 17/1 times 11/1, and I will work this one out for you. You have 17 times 11. Put your 0 in there if you need it. You got to move over the space. So 187. And then if you go ahead and simplify that on down, you get a total of 187. Answer to number 17 is 187. B. Number 18. Divide 9 by 1/9. So put your 1 in there and then leave that leader alone. 9 9s are 81. One of the very best things you can do for yourself if you plan to go on to school is to learn your times tables at least through the 9s. I recommend through the 12s. I learned mine through 12s. 10s and 11s are some of the less stressful of the ones that you have to do. I won't say easy, but they're less stressful than some of the others. The 12s are pretty tough, so learn them as far as you can, and that will help you in all aspects of life. That's a decision that I'm glad I made, to learn the times tables, or my parents made for me actually, but I'm very thankful that they did. Did I mark an answer? Yes, the number 18 answer is C. Number 19. Adam divides a whole number by a fraction. So let me go ahead and do what Adam did. I said 18/1 times 3/1 is going to be 1, and this is 56. I need to check that, guys. 18 times 3. I did not learn my times tables through my 18s, so 3/8 are 24. I thought I had it. I thought it was 54, so I'm glad I checked it. Sorry about that. It's 54. To divide 18 by 1/3, blank by reciprocal of blank. Well, what did we do here? We multiplied by the reciprocal. Reciprocal is where you flip the fraction over. Multiply by the reciprocal of what? What did we flip over? And that would have been the 1/3. So which two of these complete the statement? You have multiply by the reciprocal of 1/3. That's an interesting question. That's what I call a theory question that explains how you do a procedure. And sometimes those are harder than the ones where you actually find the answer. So we multiplied by the reciprocal of 1/3. Okay, if you have questions about this lesson, dividing fractions, please contact your instructor. There's another one that I didn't see. I'm sorry. Let me do number 20. Still applies though. If you're having questions or struggling with this one, please contact your instructor and he or she can help you get this sorted out. Just because you're doing distance learning does not mean you're on your own. And I want to reiterate that quite often. Okay, this one is 32 times 7. So let's do 14 and carry 1. And then 21 and carry or add 1 is 22. So 224 and 1 is 224. And that would be answer A. I did not mean to skip this one. I just thought number 19 was the last one that we had to do. Okay, I will see you in the next video where we will just be dividing fractions, and we are nearing the end of this lesson, so this chapter in the book. But I will see you soon. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.